What if the best-kept secret in war was never safe to begin with? Picture this. Before sunrise, a silent convoy of unmarked trucks rolls out under a cold, gray sky. There are no insignias, no radio chatter, only disciplined, shadowy figures moving with silent purpose between steel giants. Each truck is locked tight, its precious cargo unknown to all but a handful of people. Inside are not just weapons, but advanced missiles, the kind that could change the course of battle if they reached their destination. Every detail of this operation is hidden. No open communications, no digital trails, not even a whispered code word. Even the drivers are kept in the dark, ordered to follow sealed instructions and speak only if absolutely necessary. Decoy convoys and false routes scatter the clues, each step designed to vanish into fog and shadow. To outside eyes, this is a ghost on the move, untouchable, invisible, unstoppable. A web of electronic countermeasures shields the convoy from prying drones and satellites. Each path is swept for danger, every possible leak patched before it can start. This is secrecy elevated to an art, the kind of plan generals trust with their reputations and futures. But all along, an unseen adversary is quietly watching. Somewhere beyond the horizon, patient eyes have been tracking every subtle shift for weeks. A pattern of supply runs here, a strange detour there. Nothing by itself, but together, a roadmap unfolds. Eyes in the sky, sensors in the dark, and minds trained to notice what others miss, all converging on the belief that weakness always hides within confidence. In this game, the highest stakes are not just weapons or machines, but the very trust and secrecy that protects them. When the unthinkable happens, when this fortress of silence is shattered without warning or trace, what is truly lost is more than hardware. It is the faith that secrets can keep us safe in a world where someone, somewhere, is always watching and waiting. Let's peel back the layers and see how this operation, thought flawless, became a lesson in humility. To understand how it all unraveled, we need to trace the first hidden signs, clues invisible to those who believed their secret was safe. Why was this shipment different from any before? On a frozen morning, while the world slept, a convoy was preparing to move cargo that could reshape the entire conflict in Ukraine. Inside those unmarked trucks were not just weapons, but the most sought-after missiles in modern warfare: Tomahawks for long-range precision, ATACMS for devastating strikes deep behind enemy lines. More crucial still, real-time targeting modules promised a level of accuracy and flexibility never seen before. Officially, this shipment did not exist. There were no documents, no paper trail. Even the drivers had no idea what they were really transporting, told only that their cargo was important. Security was absolute. Decoys set false trails. Electronic jamming blanketed the route, creating a dome of silence. Fuel was supplied through hidden channels, and encrypted orders meant that every move was tightly controlled. Ukraine's command was confident. If this operation succeeded, it could tip the balance and change the course of the war itself. Months of planning had led to this one night, where everything was supposed to remain invisible. But the risk was total. If discovered, the loss would not just be equipment, but the strategic advantage, the secret itself, and the hope of a turning point. All of it could vanish in a single moment. Yet in the shadows, unknown to the convoy, another force was already in motion, one that had spent years waiting for exactly this kind of opportunity. Everything seemed perfectly secure, but every hidden move has its invisible watcher. In the silence before dawn, a long-laid trap was about to spring. Is any secret truly safe when your enemy plays the longest game of all? For every minute the secret convoy rolled through the shadows, Russian intelligence was watching. Not with loud threats or obvious attacks, but with silent patience. Satellites gliding above the clouds, silent drones circling in the midnight air, and analysts piecing together even the smallest, most mundane details. From a distance, the operation looked flawless. The vehicles moved under a cloak of silence, radios dead, headlights dimmed, protected by electronic jamming and cover stories. But every perfect plan leaves a fingerprint. Unusual military drills on distant bases. American rocket experts slipping quietly into Romanian warehouses. Trucks that used to haul bombs now loaded with civilian gear, moving too quickly and too carefully to be routine. Patterns began to emerge. The same model of truck, departing the same hour, taking oddly indirect routes. Disguised shipments. Logistics that should have been random, but when seen from above, fell into a rhythm. Then, the drones appeared. Not the kind that strike, but the kind that simply stare. On the first night, they kept their distance, tiny, silent, half invisible against the dark sky. Every night after, they crept closer. Every stop, every turn, every engine idling for too long, every moment was watched and recorded. The convoy believed its cloak of secrecy made it invisible. But to an enemy who never stops watching, it became something else entirely. Predictable. This was the quiet duel of military intelligence. Win by learning the enemy's rhythm, by waiting for the right chord to strike. Lose by believing your plan is unique, by forgetting that patience can be more powerful than any weapon. Now, the convoy approaches its final, most secure stretch, a legendary Soviet-era tunnel, armored by decades of secrecy and reinforced concrete. The ultimate refuge. Or at least, that's what everyone believed. But deep beneath the surface, old secrets sometimes wait the longest. As the column disappears into the darkness of the tunnel, the true nature of the enemy's preparation is about to be revealed, in a way no one could predict. What if your strongest fortress hides your greatest vulnerability? The convoy pressed forward, its payload protected by layers of secrecy and technology, funneling into a tunnel that had been reinforced, hidden, and chosen specifically for its supposed invulnerability. This passage beneath the cold, forgotten hills had been picked after months of careful route planning. It was thought to be the ultimate shelter against surveillance and sudden attack. But beneath the steel and concrete, history lay waiting. Decades ago, when the region braced for a different war, a handful of engineers embedded demolition charges deep in the tunnel's foundations. The knowledge faded into rumor, scattered in forgotten files and the minds of a dwindling few. The world moved on. The charges remained, silent and buried, overlooked by even the most thorough modern intelligence. As the long line of trucks filled the tunnel, each carrying precious cargo, each driver unaware of the danger below, a hidden sensor clicked to life. There were no drones overhead, no missiles incoming, no warning but the faintest tremor beneath the wheels. Then, in a heartbeat, the floor erupted. It was not an airstrike, not a sabotage team. It was annihilation from within, an entire section of the tunnel collapsing in a roar of dust, heat, and fire. Everything in its path was obliterated. The trucks, the missiles, every life inside. Steel twisted, flames raged, and escape was impossible. Commanders scrambled to respond, radios jammed with confusion and panic. But there was no enemy to fight, just the aftermath, a trap sprung by ghosts of wars past. The psychological shock was worse than the loss of material. How could the enemy have known, and waited, and struck with perfect timing? Behind the smoke and ruin, the real cost became clear. It was not just the loss of weapons, but the collapse of confidence. How could any future operation claim to be secure when the enemy's patience and old secrets could turn the safest route into a grave? The implications ripple outward, far beyond one destroyed convoy, shaking the very foundation of military trust and strategy. Now, leaders and analysts across continents must confront the harsh truth. If old traps can destroy the newest weapons, what else might be buried beneath their plans? What's the real cost of trusting in secrets and systems? In stories of modern war, we're told that technology and secrecy are shields, impenetrable and absolute. But here's the truth. No plan is ever truly secret. Every system, no matter how advanced, hides a forgotten weakness just waiting to be found. In the race for military advantage, flashy gadgets and electronic countermeasures take center stage. Yet, It's patience and long-term intelligence that so often decide the outcome. Those who watch quietly, who remember the old tricks and unfinished tunnels, can outplay even the most sophisticated logistics. The myth of perfect secrecy lulls commanders into believing that what's hidden cannot be harmed. History, again and again, proves them wrong. Overconfidence in new methods is a dangerous blindness. When we obsess over the latest tech, encrypted radios, invisible drones, digital camouflage, we forget the threats that never left. Deep-laid minds, dormant listening posts, and the slow, silent study of patterns don't just survive. They thrive when ignored by those chasing innovation. Real security is not about hiding. It's about accepting that discovery is inevitable and preparing to adapt when it comes. Systems are tested not by how well they conceal, but by how fast they recover after exposure. The ones who last are those who anticipate being found and plan their next move before it happens. But there's more than just physical loss. When the illusion of control shatters, the psychological damage runs deep. Commanders begin to doubt their eyes, plans unravel, and trust in the whole apparatus erodes. The cost is not just missiles or fuel, it's the slow bleed of confidence and credibility. In a world where secrets rarely stay buried, hoping for invisibility is a recipe for disaster. History's lesson is clear. True security is vigilance, not invisibility. The question is, will you remember it when it matters? As new threats emerge and old ones linger unseen, what does it really take to build resilience? Let's uncover what happens when preparation meets the unexpected. In war and in life, are you truly protecting what matters, or just hoping no one remembers your weak spots? This convoy, armored by secrecy, layered in technology, and shielded by confidence, believed itself invincible. It moved under the cover of silence and advanced tools, trusting in electronic domes and the power of modern logistics. Every detail, from alternate fuel routes to encrypted orders, was designed to leave no trace, no opening, no vulnerability. Yet what seemed undetectable was being observed, patiently, precisely, for weeks and months, perhaps even longer. The enemy did not need to shout, chase, or reveal their presence. They simply watched, recording every subtle clue, building a map from the quiet footsteps of the operation. The brilliance of technology could not erase patterns left by human hands, nor outpace the slow burn of intelligence planted years before. In moments where everything appears under control, history reminds us, perfect security is an illusion. When decades-old preparations and deep local knowledge meet the rush of high-stakes secrecy, it is often patience, not power, that decides the outcome. The explosion that wiped out the convoy was not just a tactical victory, it shattered the myth that control and advantage come only from the newest tools. The lesson here is stark. Failing to learn from the past or underestimating old patient adversaries risks real-world losses, not just of missiles or trucks, but of reputation, initiative, and the trust that underpins any strategy. Every overlooked weakness is a door left open. Every secret, no matter how well guarded, can become the key to your undoing if you forget that knowledge, observation, and time are the truest force multipliers. So, in your own life or your own battles, what are you really protecting? Is it genuine security, or just the hope that no one will notice where you are most exposed?